to shake, rattle, and troll.
It's time for the award-winning Shake, Rattle, and Troll.
Yeah, kiss the wife goodbye, rock your favorite ponies, me and the boys gonna shake.
A show for the serious fishermen as well as the novice looking for tips from the pros.
We got the power, we got the speed, we're running wide open on a midsummer breeze. Freshwater, saltwater, watch out, boy. Bass Daddy Don's gonna make some noise. It's me and the boys gonna shake, rattle, and
Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, Bass Daddy and tournament pro, Don McDowell.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm Don McDowell. Happy Easter. We've got a pretty heavy show today. We've got the voice of moderation and reason himself. Yes, John J. Colazar Jr. Hey, Junior, what's happening?
Morning, Bass Daddy. Happy Easter.
I appreciate that. Same to you. Kat Thor's in the house from Dark Horse Unlimited. And we have some special guests up from the Tucson sector from the United States Border Patrol. Agents Paco and Sullivan. Guys, happy Easter. Thanks for coming up.
Long drive. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yep, long drive here.
We appreciate it.
Let me set the table for you. We've been working with the Border Patrol on some sportsman issues. We've been doing a little bit of discovery. We've got about 30,000 square miles in southern Arizona, depending on how you measure it. It's all at risk. We've got 27 hunt units below the demarcation DHS line that says if you go beyond this line, it may affect the quality of your outing.
But doesn't it also specify that you need to take certain precautions?
No.
Just says to be careful.
Yeah, pretty much. I've got a copy of the map here. You can study it for
Didn't
yourself.
they change the wording on that? Because I could have sworn I've been down there one time before where it actually said that due to the
Smuggle.
because of the drug smuggling and stuff like that, there was a threat.
Yes.
So,
Well, we're going to talk
Enter
about all
risk.
those things, but here's the issue that we're looking at trying to discover for the sportsman. We've got the Border Patrol down there, and how many agents do we have down in the Tucson sector?
We have about 3,700 agents.
Wow.
And they patrol from the Yuma County line in the Tucson sector, and then all the way down to the New Mexico state line.
Nice.
We have about 8 stations, starting in the Ajo Border Patrol station where we went a couple of weeks ago.
I have to tell you, I've seen a lot of federal facilities. That
And,
is an awesome place down there.
that was awesome.
And then we have the Casa Grande Border Patrol station just to the east here, outside of Casa Grande. And then we have you go down to Tucson. Tucson has a substation in 3 points. Then we have the Nogales Border Patrol station down at the border on near State Route 19. And then we have, to the east, we have the Eastern Station, Sonoita. We have one in Wilcox, Douglas, and the Brian A. Terry Station.
Wow. Busy bunch of fellas down there.
3,700, really.
3,700 agents. Yep.
What do you got, about 200 horses? How many canines?
We have so our horse program is pretty big. Every station has a horse patrol unit. As far as the specific numbers, I don't have them broken down, but we have.
I've been doing some checking on you, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Good to keep me on check.
And by the way, you did a good job on the Sean Hannity program.
Oh, appreciate that.
Yeah, look how about it fell off the couch. Oh, look, there's Paco.
Yeah. We took him out. When was it? About 2 months ago, we took him out, and we seized 400 pounds of narcotics while they were out with us.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So 400 pounds are off the street.
Well, you guys are doing a hell of a job. But, one of the things we're looking at from a sportsman issue, we've got an awful lot of big game tags and hunting and quail opportunities down south. And you guys have guns. We have guns. Sometimes we don't know who you are. Most of the time, you don't know who we are. I mean, we're camming up. We've
Especially when
got backpacks. We've got firearms. And
Especially when they creep in the middle of the night, huh?
oh, yeah. Well, yeah. It's part and parcel of our discovery. We had Mike Valdez was down south of Sierra Vista. He saw you guys chasing some bad guys earlier in the day. They were camped. I'm not exactly sure where it was, but I had a small camp tent set up. In the middle of the night, they hear pitter-patter of little combat boots, and it was you guys chasing the bad guys. And they didn't come in and go, hey, it's the Border Patrol. I mean, there was lock,
Right.
load, and flashlights, and you guys had guns, they had guns, and it was pretty dicey for
And that's no criticism against you guys.
a few minutes.
It's just
Well, yeah,
reality.
hey, it is what it is, and my goal is to educate the sporting community on the protocol of how do we behave when we see you.
Right.
How do we behave, and what's the protocol when we encounter illegals, whether they be cartel traffickers or human traffickers? Sometimes, as far as I'm concerned, as I explained to you, with the way I roll, everybody's got a gun until proven otherwise, and I usually have one. So it's
Well, the areas where we patrol are very dynamic environments. We could be in what it feels like a remote location, but we have technology out there that allows our agents to monitor who's out there. In some circumstances, the drug smuggling routes can be monitored on occasion by agents, and I've encountered people that are out there camping out, in the Charlie Bell area, in the Cabeza Prieta. So
yeah,
but
you
it's
guys just found Pete Samorello, Jim Monmouth, and Mark Pearl.
Well, that's one of my
3 o'clock
biggest
in the morning.
concerns. And here's a good situation. 2 years ago, a close friend of ours, Pete Samolero, he was guiding a sheep hunt. And according to him, and I know it for a fact, he said every day that they were there in December, they glassed up people carrying product.
Stuff.
And they were on the west side of the reservation up in the Capresa, I think. And he said it was phenomenal that they were witnessing drug smuggling on a daily basis. What do you do when you see something like that?
Well, one of the things that we want to let the public know is not to interact.
They didn't.
Yeah. So one of the things we want them to be good witnesses. And if it's an area where they have access to making a phone call, having cell phone signal, or if they, some people that go out there that I've encountered, they set up a command post where, people go out and somebody stays back just for emergencies and they communicate via radio. So whoever can relay a message to our border patrol stations down there, if it's an emergency, always call 911. That's the number one thing we want them to do. Also, 911 would allow us to route that phone call. If it's here in Arizona, we have whenever somebody calls 911 in the middle of the desert and it's determined that it's a border patrol related action, then we will dispatch agents to that location to investigate. And then we can also triangulate phone calls based on, where the call is
Cell towers
originating.
come in
Cell
from.
towers, exactly. So the number one thing we want people to do is call 911. We also have, depending on where they're going, they can call the border patrol stations. You can do a Google search and see what areas you're going to, and then you can look at, the nearest station. Our Tucson Sector Public Affairs Office phone number is always a good line, where you can call in. We have a 24-hour duty phone. It's 520-748-3210.
Write that one down, boys.
And then we also have, we have a campaign. DHS has a campaign. It's called "If You See Something, Say Something," and through that campaign, you can call 1-877 USBP help, and that'll
1-877
USBP help. And then we take calls from concerned citizens all the time, and sometimes those lead to apprehensions and seizures. So. We want to depend on the public, particularly, if people that are hunting, they're out there for days and they notice something, we want to have that information. Criminal activity affects everyone, not just border communities. It affects the whole country.
Sure.
It also affects wildlife. We've seen it where there are some water catches where wildlife, are present, and through information sharing with Arizona Fish and Game, or we have, like down at the Ajo station, we have areas where there are areas of interest, and they come up through their game can monitoring wildlife. They can come up with traffic activity. They forward that information to us, and we see, sometimes we see wildlife drinking water where smugglers are dipping in, to fill out their water bottles. Yeah. So, what does that create? That creates a problem for wildlife, because wherever there's, a human presence, they
They tend to be away.
To stay away.
Sure,
exactly.
if you push something away from a water hole, it's going to take a while, and if you camp at the water hole, it's going to be a while before they come back.
Exactly.
So
So
currently we are working with the guys at Arizona Game and Fish. We've got an awful lot of mined information that they've accumulated from 2010 to current day. We'll be running south of Sierra Vista with the area supervisor April 27th. I believe the day we're going to be down there. We're going to do a day and a night with them. I want to go over to Agent Sullivan. You're a special breed of cat. First of all, you're hanging out with Paco. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, did you get extra pay for that?
I should,
Well,
but I don't.
Yeah. That'll look good on Twitter. We'll put a tweet out there for you. You're an EMT, and what else do you do for these guys?
For the Border Patrol, I'm also like a training safety officer and a range safety officer, so I'll help conduct qualifications. Every Border Patrol agent is required to qualify in the range with their firearms, their duty firearms, 4 times a year. I can assist with those qualifications. And as far as like the training aspect goes, we want to maintain adequate training for the job we do. The criminal element is there. The criminal element is dangerous. So by training, in different tactics, whether it be TATP, which is our Tactical Awareness Training Program, or active shooter, we can help the community. You know what I mean? Active shooter program, that's kind of, big kind of these days. So our agents go through, an intensive active shooter program. We invite other agencies to participate as well. And so far, we got the Eastern Corridor active shooter program up and running, which is training agents, from the Douglas Station, from the Brian A. Terry Station, from the Sonoyta Station, and the Wilcox Station.
And you're out of Wilcox?
I am out of Wilcox, sir. Yes, sir. And so those are some of the things, and also being an EMT is kind of a big role for us in the Border Patrol. We currently have approximately 218 EMTs within the Tucson sector, approximately 25 paramedics as well.
Wow.
And that's some of the things that helps the community because, one, if you're out there in the remote desert, we're going to be out there. That's where we work. That's where we operate. So to be able to have medical care ready in the desert for you is a big plus. And that's one of the things we promote. Every agent is a first responder. Every agent is trained on an individual first aid kit, which they're trained to assess injuries, stop massive bleedings, utilize a tourniquet, utilize chest seals, stuff like this. And this is stuff that, has helped, people that agents come across in the past. So.
I had to change my thought process on quite a number of things. We've got the humanitarian side of the people trying to come to the U.S., and I get that. The cartel, basically there's zero tolerance there and little tolerance for the other side. These guys are breaking the law. But I have to tell I told Agent Paco this. I was quite taken by the humanitarian care that was given to the smugglers that we were involved in. I think there was 8 guys there, about 500 pounds of contraband. But the level of concern for these guys,
right? Absolutely.
They had them take off their sock, check for blisters and gave them water and some snacks and, tended to any issues that they had waiting for the transport before they took them down to the Ajo station. So I've got a whole new respect for you guys. You guys are first-line defenders, first of all, first responders.
In a large
area.
Well, plus I have
It's
no
a
idea
battle
about
zone.
the breadth of skill sets you guys have to do your job.
Right.
I mean, really, it is incredible how many different things you have to know how to do, whether it's being liaison officer or the tactical guy or the horse guy or the EMT or the paramedic. God,
It changes
breadth.
from minute to minute.
And that is mostly because of we are the only ones who are out there for each other. So we have to rely on our skill set.
Well, you guys pretty much are running by yourself, running solo for the most part. Is that correct?
For the most part, yeah. So when we encounter...
Is that because you don't want to ride with him?
No, but when do we encounter, activity is it's one of the things that we do is we're often working by ourselves. An emergency situation arises from one second to the other. You can be conducting an enforcement action, such as making an apprehension, then the individual falls off a cliff. That has happened. People have died in my hands as I'm trying to render aid. That we can be in a law enforcement mode, and next thing you know, we're the first responders. Compared to other agencies, sometimes they just wait for paramedics. I'm not a professional.
Sure.
When there is a shooting, more than likely, if we're involved in a shooting, we're going to be the ones attending the injuries of the individual that we're encountering with. And that's what I mean. From 1 second to another, we can make an enforcement action. Next thing you know, we're saving someone's life. Regardless of the circumstances the individuals are, we're going to render aid.
Sure.
Another thing that happens is, when people, there was, I think about 3 years ago, there was a camper or hiker that went out in the Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument, and she was out doing a hike, one of the very steep trails, and she fell about 20 feet, broke both her ankles, and we had our BORSTAR agents, or our tactical border patrol search and trauma team. They stay with her for about a day and a half until we can get a helicopter to get her out to that situation. We stayed out there. We camped out there with her. We started a small fire. We kept bringing her food. Or EMTs can render IVs out in the field. And she was a U.S. citizen. You would think, why is a Border Patrol involved with a U.S. citizen? Shouldn't they only be, doing illegal immigration patrols and things like that? We're first responders regardless of who's out there. We have a campaign called the Border Safety Initiative. And this campaign is not only for the people coming across the border illegally, but also for the people in the communities where we patrol. This is a campaign. We're here for you. We're here, number one, to protect America, from all threats coming across the border, prevent terrorist weapons and terrorists from coming across the border illegally. Two is, enforce immigration laws between the ports of entry. But ultimately, we're there to serve our country. Service to country is part of our core values, having vigilance and integrity. Those are the three core elements that it takes to become a Border Patrol agent.
And that is what we encountered when we were down there. That's for sure. Everybody we talked to, every one of you guys.
Percentage-wise, how many military guys do you guys have out of 3,700?
That is a hard question. I'm a Navy veteran myself.
No, he said military.
Then thank you for that.
Oh, really? And we got to get into that right now.
Here we go.
Probably. What did you do? Reserves or something like that?
Ouch. Just because you got a gun on you, man.
All right.
It's not the gun you got to worry about. It's him with those scissors.
I don't know if being a paper pusher counts for being in the military.
Ouch.
But now,
Look at Special K's loving it over there. I'm getting my ass hit.
Well, I was just wondering how many Hungarian. He's Hungarian.
Yeah.
Are they still sneaking across the border?
We encounter people from all over the world.
There you go, JK. They deported to.
You're not talking about gypsies. Come on, give me a break. Yes, I understand that we come from all over the world.
Gypsies, tramps, and thieves. I mean, they're easy to catch. They got this wagon of the goats and the chickens following behind. Whoa.
They can't go very fast.
Yeah, profile.
Yeah, but we do encounter people from all over the world. We had in the past, 2-3 years, we had a Central American crisis across the border. We had an increase here in the Tucson sector. But the majority of the people were in the Rio Grande Valley area.
Yeah.
Across the sector, we're seeing in recent statistics are showing our numbers are drastically down.
According to Jeff Sessions, did you interact with the Attorney General when he came down this week?
Agent Sullivan was privileged to be.
I was in his motorcade when he was down here visiting.
So it's one of those things where as agents sometimes we have gone through different administrations. We're an agency that's been there for 90 years. Administrations come and go, but the Border Patrol agent would always be there protecting our borders.
Yeah, your rules of engagement have a tendency to change with different administrations.
But one of the things, regardless of who they are, we'll continue to do our job.
Sessions said, just a blanket statement, that apprehensions are down 70%. Is that a true statement?
In the Tucson sector, so that's probably a nationwide statistics. What I can speak on behalf of the Tucson sector. And I can tell you that our immigration numbers, our apprehension numbers are down about 20%. Our drug seizure numbers are down 40%. But our numbers have been in a decline since 2013. Immigration numbers and our apprehension numbers have been down since 2000. They have come down since 2000. we had 600,000 apprehensions. Last year, we had 63,000.
Holy cow.
So the numbers are drastically down. They've been on the decline. The drug seizures weren't, from 2000 to 2013, they were up to over 1 million pounds, 1.2, I think, 1.2 million pounds of narcotics seized, mostly marijuana. So, but since 2013, our marijuana seizures are starting to go down too. So, for 2 years, we attribute our success of making Arizona an undesirable place for smugglers to operate. And how do we do that? So we do that by having a better infrastructure, better fencing, better roads to patrol on. Also, the addition of the latest technology available to our agents, surveillance capabilities that we have, whether they're mobile or they're permanent fixture. And then the other thing is the agent himself. We had an increase in Border Patrol agents in the Tucson sector. We went from 1,500 to 3,700. And
Right,
at one point,
right.
we were over 4,000 here in the Tucson sector. So then combine those three things with the consequence to those involved in illegal activity, targeting the criminal organizations and identifying who's doing what and how they're doing it, and then develop an action plan. So having a consequence and then gathering intelligence, whether that is through custodial interviews on the individuals that we apprehend, whether that is to surveillance technology. That could be from a variety of tools that I can't get into details with, but having that information and then having the integration, having the information, then integrating that information, because, I go back again, the cross-border illegal activity is not just a Border Patrol's problem. It's, everyone and all the communities around.
Exactly.
Along the border and as a whole, as a country also. So then sharing that information with different agencies and having a whole government approach where the sharing of information between agencies, having that dialogue and communication. And then thirdly, having a rapid response to that information. So we attribute our success to that. Obviously, this past 3-4 months, we've seen a drastic decrease. On entries and apprehensions, and as the Tucson sector is concerned, that's how we attribute our success.
That's pretty amazing. On back on the wildlife front, how much poaching do you guys?
That is not
observe?
something that we. That is not something that we do observe, but I can speak from experience, patrolling down at the Ajo Border Patrol Station, and I don't know how it's in Wilcox and other places, but
Wilcox was pretty well shot out. It has been for years.
and one of the things that we do see is that we have a dialogue with the different government agencies who are in charge of gaming. Whether that is through the Fish and Wildlife in Arizona
Sure.
and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and they provide with us with training. They give us a calendar of the hunting, and they give us training on what to look for. So when an individual is out there and he's saying oh, I'm out here, and then we go and see who that is and what's he doing in the middle of nowhere, and then we look at our hunting schedule and it doesn't jive with the season, and he's making certain claims, then at that time we can refer that information. We have a liaison team that can refer their information to investigate through the proper channels, and we refer that information to individuals. I have not personally seen anything like that, but it's something that we do encounter. And I mean, our job is to secure the border. Number
Got it.
one.
Okay, as hunters, do you want to hear from us before we deploy to the field? Do you want to know what we're driving, how many of us there is, and
It's
where
beneficial.
we're going to camp?
It's beneficial, and then I've seen emails when people do make those contacts, because some of the areas you guys go, you're out of cell phone signal. In an emergency, if you don't report back to your loved ones when you go on a hunt, then it's good to have that information to be able to know. Number one, it gives us a situational awareness of what's going on around the border, and two, it makes it safer for everyone, because now when we respond to the area that we previously known there's going to be some hunting activity, we know what we're getting into, particularly like you said before, you guys carry guns, we carry guns. The last thing we want is a tragedy out there where it's a friendly on friendly fire.
Gets pretty dicey pretty quick.
Because friendly fire never is.
Where was, do you know what unit PC was hunting in down there? Okay. Alrighty, that said, we're going to flip into a short break here. When we come back, we've got some breaking news in California. The yellowtail are going nuts. Captain Bill on the Malaheat is going to join us for a few minutes. I'm Don McDowell.
Agent Vicente Paco with Tucson Sector.
And it's going to be Agent Christopher Sullivan from Tucson Sector as well.
It's just Cat Thor.
Oh, okay. JK's been mugged.
Even outlaws could not hide from battlefield.
All righty, we're back. I don't know about that music, but smells like the left coast over on downtown San Diego with Captain Bill on Mayhem on the Malaheat. How you doing, good Captain?
Hey, good morning, guys. Left Coast is wonderful, and this Happy Easter. Happy Easter, by the way.
Yep, same to you, sir, and all of yours. Are you having like a Hawaiian luau today, looking for Easter eggs and roasted pigs?
No, I wish. If we were in Hawaii, I'm sure that's what would be happening right about. No, actually, it's still too early.
Hey,
We'd be getting ready to go.
I happen to know you're in Hawaii every day.
Oh, don't go there.
I know who runs the boat. Hey, listen, we're looking at some pretty good numbers coming off the fish count yesterday. The whole San Diego fleet, they had 10 boats out, 12 trips, 383 anglers, 272 yellowtail, a bunch of rockfish, and 3 bluefin. What's up with the bluefin?
The bluefin are moving south at a rapid pace. They started out on the 55 line on Tuesday. That's 55 out. And they were down at 05 today, or yesterday.
Really?
Which, they moved like 20-some odd miles. I'm guessing that's probably 5 to 6 miles a day. And we're chasing them, and you see them beelining it straight to the south. There's some ugly water down there. Hopefully it gets them turned around and shot back up this direction. They're just about out of range for a three-quarter day. The overnight guys are doing really well. They get down there 60 miles or so. Our limit is probably 45.
Yeah, it looks like the day and a half trips were the guys, Old Glory and I don't remember the other one. I think it was Relentless that had quite a few yellows aboard yesterday.
Right. It started out really good for us, in the week. The 5th we had, 135 yellowtail for 49 people. The 6th we had 35 yellowtail and 4 bluefin tuna for 44. Then on the 7th we had 35 yellowtail for 36 people. Then we had 44 anglers caught 57 yellowtail. That would be the 8th. The 12th we ran again. We got out with 25. We had 7. And the 13th, it looked like it turned around and came back toward us a little bit. We had 11 people. We wound up with 33 yellowtail, 1 bluefin tuna, and then the 14th we got blanked. The 15th we got 1. Yesterday we got 1 yellowtail for our efforts.
Wow. What do you attribute that to? Any change in the water or barometric pressure? What's going on?
No, just movement of the fish, It's a big old ocean. We went by or ran close to probably about 45 kelps yesterday. And there were, out of those 45, there were probably 7 kelps that were holding. They just didn't want to eat. I think that a lot of people say it's the moon, it's this, that, one thing, the other. Okay, I'll from being in the industry so long, I'll buy into that. I've seen it 3 days before and 3 days after a full moon, and then it starts to get consistent, 20s, 25s, 30s, 40s, 50s, back to the hundreds and stuff like that. But, it's just a moon phase.
Well, we see, Bill, we have the same thing over here, for the inland lakes that we fish over here. You can be on one fish one day, and then the next day they've got lockjaw.
Yeah, exactly. And that's fishing. To me, that's fishing. Like I said, we don't sell. We sell a trip, but we sell the experience of the trip, not the actual catching of the fish. Because if it were easy, my boat would be sold out every day.
Yeah, man. Speaking of the good ship, how's Malaheat doing overall?
She's doing well. Captain Jimmy Merle's running a boat today. Captain Mike Zag is on the beach spending his first Easter with his new baby and wife and other daughter. So it's like he's kind of excited about that.
Have you still got Danny on the grill?
Danny's still on the grill.
Nice.
He actually came back last week, Monday, I do believe it was. And things are good. You know, I honestly couldn't ask for a better start to the season. God has blessed me immensely, and that's all I know. That's all I know. I mean, life's good.
Well, that's awesome. We're going to wish you happy Easter, and God bless you, man. I appreciate having you on the friendship list, and we'll look forward to seeing you and perhaps the deck of the Malahini the latter part of next week.
Really? That
Oh,
would
yeah.
be awesome. Are you bringing JK? You coming too?
Negative on that, Ghost Rider.
Oh, come on.
I got my son coming into town from Portland, and then I'm heading up to Columbia. I'm going to be fishing for salmon up there.
Really?
Yeah,
That sounds like a fun trip.
I'm hoping. I love fishing the Columbia Gorge, which I did a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Just one of the most awesome experiences I've ever had in terms of just nature and beauty. That gorge is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's like going up to Kern County.
Yeah.
Fishing the rivers and streams up there. It's quite a hike into the wilderness to get to where you want to go. But I mean, it's once you're in there, it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, don't want to come back necessarily.
No, not at all.
You will see me
Not at
sometime
all.
this summer. I'm going to show up on the docks. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm committed. I'll take my Dramamine and anything else, and my little water wings and everything else. I'll be there.
JK on a rope.
Now, real quick, a little tidbit for you guys. If you do get motion sickness and you plan on coming out to fish with us, I would strongly suggest taking a Dramamine 24 hours before your trip, and then taking one that morning. If you take that Dramamine the morning of the trip, chances I'll bet you $100 it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work because it's not in your system.
Thank you. Yeah, I prefer to keep all my meals going the regular route.
I understand. Guys, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely, Captain. God love you. Give the
You guys want to get on the boat? There's two ways you can do it. You can call the landing at 619-222-1144. That's H&M Landing. Or you can get on the Malahini Facebook website. We post pictures and let people know what's going on every day that we're out there, and there's something to report that is not of significance because we report, oh, yeah, we got skunk today, and I hope that doesn't scare anybody away. Come on out, try it again tomorrow. Like I said, that's why it's called fishing, not catching.
All right, Captain. Happy Easter. Or you can check him out at hmlanding.com. Call over there, talk to Rick, and pester him, and book your trip. All right, back to securing the Sonoran Desert. You had mentioned Rip Cruise. I want to kind of get into that. We've got kind of a media blackout on what's happening on the Rip Cruise. Nobody wants to talk about it. They started talking about Rip Cruise in about 2010 through 16 is the last piece I could find on it. Describe the Rip Cruise and what's going on.
Well, the transnational criminal organizations that we have out here, sometimes transportation sales go against each other. You know, one of the things that we encountered out in the field is we encounter individuals who want to steal the narcotics load from each other. You know, they've already backpacked it all the way from the border out to I-8 or I-10, whatever that might be, and they're trying to steal each other's loads. That is a very dangerous situation.
Are these Rip Crew guys, are they non-affiliates with the cartel, generally speaking?
You know, it could be, individuals who have previously delivered narcotics and they know the route. So it could be
Rival
cartels, or it could be just a group of gang members out of Phoenix that knows where.
In the Coast Guard, we call them pirates.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's a good analogy, but they're one of the most dangerous individuals that we encounter in the field.
We also have another threat. It's called the Scouts. The Scouts are individuals on mountaintops. You know, when we went out,
Oh, yeah.
we saw them on the Mexican side of the border.
Yeah, by the way, I did order up some body armor with Cat's help.
So the challenges that we encounter with these individuals is that, you know, more often they're out on a mountaintop and they're monitoring law enforcement activity, and you know the Tucson sector here in Arizona, we encounter them, and we made, you know, for the first time in U.S. Border Patrol history, we were able to successfully prosecute a scout. You know, that is charging somebody with conspiracy to smuggle contraband, because their intentions is not to come across the border illegally and, you know, come and work and as an immigrant, as an illegal immigrant. Their intentions is to monitor what we're doing and relay that information to the individuals on the ground who are trying to elude our detection. So we created a case, and it was the United States versus Avelino Niebla Torres, and he was the first case. Now we have case law that we can fall back on and sets precedents whenever we encounter an individual who is dressed in camouflage gear. You know, he's got a solar panel out in a mountaintop.
Yeah.
He's got a solar panel in a mountaintop, and he's got binoculars. He's got encrypted radios. He's got, you know, a kitchenette up there, and he looks like he's been out there for 10, 15 days.
That sounds like one of your camps.
I'm not going down there anymore.
So, you know, we and then many of these individuals in the past were claiming they was just illegally present. You know, I'm just an immigrant. And we successfully, through the U.S. Attorney's Office in Tucson, were able to prosecute someone. Now these individuals are operating with fear, knowing that they're going to go to jail if they're caught,
Right.
you know, doing this action.
Catch and prosecute. We encourage you to keep catch and release to bass tournaments. That's what we do. So, all right. That said, we're going to stand down, take a short break. When we come back, the uncomfortable business of roll call for April 6th. All righty, we're back visiting with the Border Patrol agents that were good enough to share their Easter with us. A couple things are going on. I've had a whole bunch of conversations with private sector up here. Do you have employment opportunities right now?
Absolutely. We're currently hiring. You can go on usa.cbp.gov/careers. And at that website, you can see what it takes to become a Border Patrol agent. And to apply, you can go to www.usajobs.gov and do a keyword search for Border Patrol agent. We are hiring. We do have excellent benefits that will help you out. And, if you want an exciting career, if you're sitting at home playing video games and whatnot, just go online and become a Border Patrol agent. It's an exciting career. We have excellent opportunities. You can be a part of the ATV team. You can be part of Horse Patrol, work with horses. If you're, have a fascination with the medical field, you could be an EMT or a paramedic like myself. And even if you want to go further on to become a specialty unit, we have two specialty units. We have our BORSTAR, which is our Border Patrol Search, Trauma, and Rescue team. And they train, every single one of them is an EMT. Some of them can go on to become paramedics. Then there's specialty, you can go to dive school. You can be a TRT, technical rescue team.
There's nothing like a dive out in the middle of the desert.
Nice.
You know what? But BORSTAR, they get sent to, all parts of the countries. And they will help out, say, if there's a natural disaster, or something, they need, we'll send, agents there because we operate within the United States. And that goes the same for our BORTAC team, which they're basically our SWAT. And if things are going on somewhere else in the country, they'll assist with that. I know a few years back, they helped on the northern border with one of those escapees that escaped from their prison. It was one of the BORTAC guys that encountered him.
One of the things, there's two countries that are contiguous to the United States. One is Mexico and the other is Canada. Do you have any concept or do you have dialogue with your Border Patrol agents on the far north, and what are their issues? Are they facing the same types of things with drug smuggling, or is it much more relaxed considering the climate coming out of Canada? There's times of the year I don't think there's going to be a lot of that.
Right. So the different areas of the country see different challenges. The northern border is not a focus area. The southwest border is for us in the United States Border Patrol. Illegal immigration has changed the way we operate over the years. For a while, the focus was in the San Diego sector. San Diego sector developed some strategies and some tactics where, then the focus changed to the Yuma sector. Then the Yuma sector developed some strategies and, did some infrastructure improvements and manpower and technology, the same thing. Then the Tucson sector became the focus. Then, we did some things here to where in recent years the focus has been the Rio Grande Valley sector.
That's pretty hot over there still.
Right.
Yeah.
The threat is in the southwest border, but we're going to address situations everywhere else. What my partner here, Agent Sullivan, was referring to, there was 2 felons that escaped from a state prison up in I think upstate New York or somewhere, and we sometimes have agents assigned to task forces. Like out here in Arizona, we have the HIDA. It's the high density interdiction. I can't remember the exact acronym, but it's a task force led by the DEA. And we might have an agent assigned to that task force, to conduct gather information. If some of the things that they encounter, do they come from the border? Some of the actions that they're seeing. We also have in Arizona we have the ACTT, which is the Alliance to Combat Transnational Threats, and that is a state-led operation where different agencies join together in an effort to combat these transnational threats. The stuff that we encounter is not just immediate to the border that we're operating. We have long gone from a mom and pop operation smuggling immigrants or drugs. Now these organizations are smuggling people, they're smuggling contraband, they're smuggling weapons and money into Mexico, and they're there to make money. And whatever goods that needs to be smuggled, they're gonna get into them because they control the routes, they control who crosses where before they make it into the border. So us as an agency, we have a vested interest in identifying who this individual is, establishing partnerships not only in the U.S. side of the border, but also on the Mexican side of the border, also overseas, and having that information and liaisons in those different areas allows us to better secure the border here in the Tucson sector.
Fascinating. One of the issues that we've been looking at is the interagency interaction. Central Arizona, who do you interact most with? County sheriffs, DPS?
Right. Agents on the ground are going to interact with the local law enforcement agencies. We have those agents who are attached to the task forces that they're going to interact with different agencies. But we have, I talked about earlier about our whole government approach. Tackling this problem. 9/11 really changed the way we operate because in 9/11 there was some investigations done at the time where they noticed a disconnect between all government entities. Everybody was kind of working independently. Now we have what we refer to as the Joint Task Force West here in Arizona, right. Where everybody's there, everybody's have the same vested interest in protecting the United States from transnational threats. So that has really changed the way we do work. But to name one single agency, it's unfair to the ones that, because we're involved in so many different things as a federal agency that it's hard to pinpoint one.
Just out of curiosity, before we go to roll call, are you guys running undercover guys?
I can't get into details regarding, we do have a unit that specializes in plainclothes. We refer them to as disrupt operations. I can't get in details exactly on how it goes and exactly what they do, but we do have a plainclothes unit.
And they work with our partner agencies as well.
Yeah, and they're the ones who are mostly assigned to these task forces that I'm talking to.
Quick question. just to finish up on the hiring process, is there an age range that you're shooting for?
Yes, right now, like in order to become a Border Patrol agent, you have to be older than 18 years old. So that's pretty low compared
Oh my
to
God,
other
I
law
made it.
enforcement agencies.
I want to
However-
sign him up as a spotter.
Past that, you got underwear older than that.
Stop it.
30, 40. So right now, for example, let me see. I have here our hiring requirements. So the agency is it's currently hiring in the southwest border. You know, you have to be 18 and at least 37 years old. Starting salary is $40,000 to $72,000. You start as a GS 5, promote all the way to a GS 12. We have been having some hiring challenges, so we encourage all individuals who want to join our agency to log into usajobs.gov, do a keyword search United States Border Patrol, and apply there. And you'll see the different benefits that we have, the duties, the locations where we're hiring in the southwest border.
Okay, we'll get back to that. Uncomfortable business today. Shake, rattle, and troll roll call for April 16th, 2017. We lost a Green Beret. Special Forces soldier killed last Saturday in Afghanistan was identified as Staff Sergeant Mark D. Alencar, according to DOD. He was 37 years old, died of injuries from enemy small arms fire while his unit was conducting counter-ISIS operations in Nangarhar Province. The staff sergeant leaves behind a wife and 5 children. His remains are to arrive at Dover Air Force Base this coming Monday. The weapons sergeant was assigned to the 1st Battalion, 7th Special Forces Group at Elgin Air Force Base there in Florida. The Edgewood, Maryland native father was an Army veteran, enlisted in 2009, graduated from Special Forces qualifications in 2016. He was awarded Purple Heart, 5 Army Commendation Medals, 6 Achievement Medals, the Iraq Campaign Medal with 2 stars on it, Combat Infantry Badge, Expert Infantry Badge, Special Forces Tab, Ranger Tab, and a Parachute Badge, and the Air Assault Badge. As always, our hearts and prayers and condolences go out to Staff Sergeant's family, his unit. That's the price of freedom, guys. Give it a thought. I'm Don McDowell. We'll be right back.
The man that fears no fish, Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
All righty, we're back. Welcome to the second hour of Shake, Rattle, and Troll. Happy Easter, everybody. Great day. JK's in the house. Pretty well reserved today.
There's just times when I know what I need to do, and I do it.
You're outnumbered.
That's what happens when you take the microphone away from him.
Yeah, I wanted to wish your dad a happy birthday. He turned 95, Mr. Colazar Sr. Happy birthday, sir.
Happy birthday to him.
Yeah, you got to meet his dad. What a wonderful guy. The guy fought in World War II. He was at every bad place in the history book. He was at the Stone. I mean, just on and on and on.
Your dad was at the Stone?
Battle of the Bulge.
Oh, I'd love to hear those stories.
Oh yeah, yeah. But it'll cost.
I love history. I love American history. I love military history. So to have somebody that was there, I could sit and just listen for days to people that those stories.
With Mr. Colazar, that will cost you 1/2 a glass of beer, not a whole one, but just a half.
I got it. I'm on it.
Good stuff. We have our friends from the Border Patrol, Paco and Sullivan, agents from the USBP in from the Tucson sector, having quite a information-packed couple of hours here. Before we went to the break, you were talking about the employment opportunities.
Right.
I've had the question posed Friday. Do you have to be a former law enforcement guy?
You don't. So the advantage of applying with the United States Border Patrol is that many local law enforcement and other agencies require the individual to be at least 21. You could be 18 years old with a year experience and apply for the United States Border Patrol.
Okay.
The minimum requirements are you got to be 18 years old. They recently increased. I said 37 earlier today. They recently increased the age requirement. They bumped it up to 40. The reason they did that is because we're having a hard time hiring right now. We want to encourage individuals who are interested. If you have a clean record, you can pass a background check. United States citizen, between 18 and 40, and you want to come work for us, we'll take you. We'll have it's a very rigorous process. It's not going to be easy. It takes about 18 months on average. The academy, it's long. It's in New Mexico. We have the hiring process begins with submitting an application. Then from there, they go take a test where they teach the ability, or they test the ability of the individual in reading comprehension. Some basic skills regarding to making good judgment calls and things like that. And then the ability to learn Spanish or learn a language if the individual doesn't speak Spanish. There is a Spanish test that you can take, or an artificial language test. Then from there, they go into a oral board interview where a medical background. They'll do a medical assessment on the individual. They also do a stress test. And then from there, they're probably gonna do a questionnaire where they go deep into like 7 to 10 years back in their past, review any contact they had with law enforcement and all of that. Then all of those questions are reviewed in a polygraph examination. That is one of the many challenges that we have within the application process.
That's been in the news of late.
It has
being looked at, yeah.
Right. So, we still want to hire the best qualified individuals to come work for us.
Do you prefer military background?
It is a great tool to have within our agency. A lot of the things that we go through in the United States Border Patrol Academy are military-oriented type of training. It's not as intense, but it's very rigorous. So it's very demanding because you have to learn immigration law in less than 5 months now. So it's a very challenging academy regarding academics. Physically demanding for those who are not in the best shape also. But it's a challenging career, but very rewarding. Agent Sullivan was talking about the benefits that we have. We have similar benefits to the military in regards to leave and and how we get some sick leave and things like that. Our holidays are paid. Overtime, we have night differential pay. There's a lot of incentives to have the agents. Our pay was recently restructured to where you can choose how much overtime you want to work. As far as most Border Patrol agents have to work at least 10 hours a day. But you walk away within 5 years, you can walk away with a 6-figure check.
Yes.
At the end of the
I
at the end
just
of the
learned
year.
that Friday.
Yeah. So it's we want people who wanna have the vigilance. I talked about the core values, who have want to have the vigilance to secure a border, that have the integrity and the service to country. I come from a family where we grew up on in a border town. I've seen how illegal activity has affected many community members and many acquaintances that I have growing up, and I seen that firsthand. So I decided to get involved at an early age. I come from a family that has served in every war since the Korean War. My grandfather served in the Korean War. One of my uncles and my dad joined during the Vietnam era. Me and my brothers joined the Navy during the 9/11. We were right in it when all of this was going on in September 11. So one of the things that we look for is some of those characteristics. We want to have individuals who are ready to serve their country and ready to protect our homeland at the border.
Well, it truly is a battlefront down there from what I've seen over the years. JK, we've got an awful lot of activity in the Tono Odom. Any thoughts on that?
From all the people that I talk to who have regularly hunted on their border of the reservation, there have been some allegations that there are people who are assisting, and that's not labeling the reservation as a whole, but that certainly individuals within that environment are assisting by packing, making sure that food and supplies are available for the traffickers so that they don't have to go in and out of towns to get that type of stuff. Are you seeing any of what you would consider that type of a support system? I think that's the easiest way to put it.
Well, unfortunately, many communities along the border fall victim to joining these criminal organizations. So I don't want to talk specifically to a specific demographic, but what I can tell you is that smugglers exploit those who live in
The border
those
towns.
communities. And one of the things that they do is they'll use aggressive recruiting tactics.
Blackmail.
Yeah, well, not necessarily, because they'll move on to the next individual. They don't have to stick around with someone. One of the things that we're doing as an agency to combat that is we're trying to engage kids at an early age through our border community liaison program. We're going out to the high schools. We're going out to the community events, the parades. We're showing a presence to let them know, don't give in to the criminal element. We have a presentation called Operation Detour, where we talk to these kids at an early age. We try to beat the criminal element from recruiting these individuals.
And I understand that. I mean, that's a moral high ground, and it's also it's quote the right thing to do.
Right.
But when they're being offered significant amounts of money in a poor economic situation, I understand that kind of a lure that happens. And then once you're sucked into it, you're sucked. I mean, you're
So one of the things that we do know is that there is no way out. Once you say yes.
Yeah, you're in
saying
forever.
no, moving forward. Another thing that I tell, when I go and talk to these kids and to those who become victim to that is don't socialize yourself with individuals who are involved in a criminal element. Unfortunately, social media and current trends, glorify the illegal activity. You see it on the shows on Netflix. They have these narco shows and things like that, and they glorify the criminal elements. So a lot of people are attracted to the quick, easy cash and things like that. So it's a challenge for us. It's a challenge that we understand, and it's a challenge that we're addressing, by conducting active, engagement in the community.
We need to have a television show on you guys.
Right. That also helps
glorify
too.
what you guys are doing.
And we do have, through different networks, we go through our office, we process, the I'm sure you've seen Border Wars and Drug Wars
Great
and all
program.
those shows.
Great program.
So,
how do you feel about the authenticity of that? You get cameras out and behavior change. Is that pretty much the real deal?
Well, I can tell you that I've been part of it, and we try to get as realistic as we can.
Yeah.
You talked about the Hannity piece. That was as real as it gets. You were out there.
Yeah, boy.
That's as real as it gets.
Yeah, we were out there in the dirt. Yeah, that's
right.
Real,
and
real life
that's
stuff.
as real as it gets. We came up on a group of individuals that were just recently seized from smuggling narcotics. You guys got to see firsthand how those bundles look. I mean, we're not making that up. We can't make it up.
And the fact that the agents have to get information, I'll say, for example, the GPS coordinates. Here's their last place, and then they have to actually man track them.
Right.
Right. Then this is stuff that people don't know. It's again more skill sets you guys have to have
Right.
that you're actually man tracking.
Right.
It's not easy. These guys with their carpet shoes, they don't make it easy for you.
Well, one of the things that we do encounter is we might have all this technology, we might have all these assets, but we rely on basic skills.
Right.
At the end of the day, we're following footprints, because they might drop into this wash, they might drop into this canyon, they might go into this area where
That's
there's
a pretty tough country down there too.
Yeah, and we're relying on basic skills. We're relying on following footprints. We're relying on disturbances on the ground, and not just footprints. That's also looking. We refer to it as sign.
Yeah.
Is it high sign? Is it something that we're seeing on the brush? Do we see burlap? Or clothing along the brush and things like that? Do we see where people are grabbing onto as they're climbing in different areas? We're looking at a variety of things, and it takes a trained eye to get to that. And we have some of the best trackers out in the Border Patrol. We have assisted in many situations out. Not only tracking, when we're following the criminal element, but also lost people. And we have some of the best tracking dogs.
Another thing that we want to talk about is also what we're doing to do rescues.
Yeah.
You know,
There are a
something
lot
that
of
is
that going on.
There's something that is under advertised. We conduct, you know, hundreds of rescues every year, and we save, you know, many lives. And Agent Sullivan can probably elaborate a little bit more on that in regards to the assets on the Boar Star and the you know, the canines who follow footprints and follow people.
Yeah, we just want to emphasize that the resources that Border Patrol has available to conduct complex rescue operations. Of course, you know, in the desert, it's a remote area. There's mountainous terrain. That's why, you know, we have our Boar Star agents who are trained to work in these mountainous terrains to come in a helicopter and conduct complex rescue operations. And that's kind of like, you know, one of the things we do as Border Patrol agents.
The agency has also recognized the need, you know, even though individuals do make that decision, you know, I'm going to come across the border. So we have a campaign called the Border Safety Initiative. The Border Safety Initiative is our prevention campaign. We're trying to come up with a strategy where we're letting the individuals know, don't put your life in the hands of these smugglers, because they'll leave you out there to die. You know, you break an ankle, you know, individuals who are coming across the border, they can keep up, they'll leave them out there to perish. So we develop, you know, rescue beacon towers. You know, when we were out there you know, you guys were able to see one of those. It's this concrete platform that has a steel mast that goes up 80 feet in the air, and then it has this strobe up in the top. It's got these mirrors on the top, and anyone that's in distress can walk up to one of these strobes. We have 34 in the Tucson sector.
Mm-hmm.
They can walk up to them, press the button. 5 of those 34 have a call box, just like the ones you see on the side of the freeway, those yellow squares, boxes. You open it up, you press a button, you pick up the phone, and you'll be talking to a Border Patrol agent. Regardless of the circumstances and regardless of the nationality, we're going to respond and we're going to render aid. That is something that is under advertised by our agency.
Right,
We spend an enormous amount of assets and your taxpayer dollars to mitigate. It shouldn't be a death sentence to come across the border illegally. Even though people do still decide and put themselves in those circumstances, you know, we are a humanitarian agency. One of the things that many people don't know and don't fail to or may fail to realize is that, you know, we are in many circumstances portrayed in a negative way. You only see the news when Border Patrol agent did something wrong, right. You know, and one of the things that I want to mention is that, you know, we're parents. We are members of the communities.
Absolutely,
many people complain that, you know, we might have a militarized border, but you know what? I live in this community. I was born and raised in this community, and you know, there wouldn't be a need for, you know, a Border Patrol checkpoint, or there wouldn't be a need for infrastructure and technology along the border if there wasn't a criminal element. And I can assure you that, you know, it's an eye opener when you really get to see it, and you're like, wow, you know, that's really what's going on. And you know, the behind every uniform there is a badge. You know, every agent wears a uniform with a badge on, and behind every badge there's a heart. So we're human beings. We're out there patrolling. And our job is, you know, obviously to secure the border, but we're there to serve the American public also.
Well, it seems to me like you guys are making a sacrifice doing what you do with family, the time and the hours and the logistics that you have to deal with. On the other side of the border, is there any effort from the Mexican government to work with the population to deter?
We have a unit called the International Liaison Unit. And then we have a foreign operations branch. So, you know, there's only so many things that we can do, and I'll put it in layman's terms. One of the things that we have is think of the game of football, right? You have the border being the line of scrimmage. You have linebackers. You have linemen. You have safeties and all of that. So think of that on the defensive side. That's the United States Border Patrol. Whenever we can sack the quarterback in Mexico, you know, making the analogy, going after you know, transnational criminal organizations that are operating in Mexico, we take that shot. If we can share a piece of information, obviously after it's cleaned up from any national security and sensitive information, and if we can relay that information to the government in Mexico for action, you know, it's beneficial to our agency, because as an agency we can't patrol in Mexico. So having that dialogue, and sometimes, you know, we have these meetings. We had an operation here I can't remember the statistics off the top of my head, but it was Operation Blue Relámpago Azul, which means like blue lightning, where we were doing mirror patrols. We were sharing information from both sides of the border, and it was a very successful operation. I can probably, later on send you guys those stats so you can see some of the things that we do.
So you're getting good relations with the Mexican government in regards to this?
In regards to certain things. Another great example is when we encounter tunnels in Nogales, there has to be a binational collaboration to remediate some of those tunnels that we have, because they initiate in a house, in a business, or in a parking lot somewhere in Mexico, and they come into the United States. So having that dialogue is necessary. Also, CBP oversees lawful trade and travel, so it's beneficial for both countries to have a secure border and a safety communities for their citizens, to where trade and travel can flow from both countries. That is something that our partners in Blue Office of Field Operations deal with the most. The lawful travelers and the commerce and import and export of goods from both countries. We as Border Patrol agents focused on the illegal immigration portion, on the illegal trade and travel, things circumventing, pretty much what we refer to as the door of the United States down at the border.
I've had some opportunities since we ran with you guys to talk to the Auto Theft Recovery Task Force. We've been having discussions about Rip Crew and cartel guys stealing hunters' vehicles from Sportsman's Warehouse, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops, these kind of things. I mean, we're talking about vehicles that are off-road tires, suspensions, stuff.
Right.
Odds are they're going to have a gun behind the seat.
Right. That's one of most of the vehicles that we do encounter that are used for illegal activity are stolen vehicles. One of the things that we have at some of our checkpoints, we have license plate readers. These license plate readers, if there's a car going through one of our checkpoints, traveling on the opposite side or both sides of the border, you might see some of these cameras out there. And
oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Those cameras are reading those license plates, and if we determine that is stolen vehicle, we'll call the locals, or if it's something that we can assist with and interdict, we'll do that. Those license plate readers are a great tool to have at our checkpoints, because it allows the agent to it's just another tool given to them. We've encountered people who have been reported lost. At the Lordsburg Border Patrol station, they had an individual who was a silver alert. The guy was disoriented and just kept on driving from Tucson, and he popped up at one of our checkpoints because
that
of
was JK when he was supposed to meet his count in Ajo. You see a great Prius and an old gray-haired guy in it, pop him.
Yeah, the other one was there was a runaway juvenile with a joyride. He took his parents' car and he decided he was gonna take off. And because of our checkpoint, he might come up and say United States citizen. That's as far as we're done. If it wasn't for some of these tools that we have, like the license plate reader, the alert wouldn't have been generated. The agent would have could have possibly missed that kid trying to run away from home.
Do you have any advice for us parking our vehicles at some of these locations to make them less desirable?
Well, number one, don't leave your
drive your Prius.
Weapons. Don't leave your weapons visible, because obviously, if someone sees that, they're going to want to take it.
And then
valuables.
Another thing that we always have to maintain awareness of this places we're going into. As agents, as an agent myself, when I'm out with my family, I don't want to identify myself as a law enforcement entity. So maybe if people are parking, you're gonna go to Cabela's, the criminal element knows that you probably have equipment, in there.
Oh yeah.
So leave your gear at home if you're gonna go shopping, and then just walk out with what you're gonna take home. It might be a hassle trying to download all your stuff, but if you can avoid taking all your gear with you when you go shopping.
Oh, just in the immediate circle that Jake and I run in, PC lost his Suburban. They found that about 5 miles south of Ajo with 15 bodies in it, headed north.
Wow.
You know that?
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of the things that they do is, for example, you talk about Suburbans. One of the things that they do out in the desert is they'll strip all the paneling, all the seats, and just leave the driver's seat on there. And sometimes they'll load that vehicle with 2,000 pounds from floorboard to ceiling, with no upholstery. They'll take everything out to bare metal. They spray paint the windows and they take out the headlights, and then they drive at night. And we've encountered hundreds of vehicles out there since I've been in regarding illegal activity, and they can be used to smuggle narcotics. They could be used to resupply scouts and resupply drug mules out in the desert, or pick up individuals who are coming across illegally.
I'm going to ask you a question. You can refuse to answer it because I don't know how sensitive it is. We're getting an awful lot of information on RIP crews and activities west of Maricopa. How hot is that right now?
Well, I don't want to bring attention to a specific area because that can allow interest for other people. What I can tell you is that if anyone out there that is listening to this show has information, we have that phone number, 1-877-USBP help. And if you think that the information can be put to use to better secure our border, we're open ears. We'll take the information and take action if we can. It might be a piece to a puzzle that we're trying to put together.
Absolutely. As hunters in the field, we pick up the phone and we give you a heads up. What do you suggest? We just give you the information, your GPS waypoint, and just depart.
The best thing to do is the area you're going to be out in, what vehicles and how many people in your party are going to be out there. That is always beneficial to the agents in the ground, because then that information can be passed on to the field agents who are patrolling those areas.
Okay, but if we give you information, we see some bodies and some activity that kind of suspect.
All right, so
do you want us to hang there, or you just want us?
The number one thing is don't interact. If they come up asking up for water and things like that, they're not gonna try to make themselves visible. But if they do, just give us a line of travel. If you have specific GPS coordinates of their location and the line of travel, then we'll respond, send an agent, and follow the last known location, and we'll track them.
All righty. That said, next up, the Master Rod Smith from Rim Country Custom Rods, then finishing up with the Border Patrol. We'll be right back.
Morning's kind of damp. I'm not worried about cutting the grass. Left my truck at the boat ramp, and my boat is full of gas. My old boss thinks I'm sick today. He won't have me to harass, 'cause I'm out here on the river, and he can kiss my big old bass, kiss my bass.
All righty, hey, we're back. The Master Rod Smith, James Guggenauer from downtown Payson, where the weather is probably pretty damn nice about now. James, what's happening, brother?
Hey, good morning, Don, and the weather is perfect. 33 for a low last night, and right now we're sitting at 61 degrees.
Nice. Good stuff. All right, if you've been listening, we have the Border Patrol here. Have you got any questions before we get into the fishing report?
Not any questions, but, as I sit and listen to the gentleman, I'm thinking, we hunt and fish, and we enjoy the outdoors, and we go out and hike and do our thing. And, we give too little thought to guys like that ensure that we can do that safely. So I thank you. I thank both of you and your whole departments for the efforts that you do to keep us safe.
Amen, brother.
Thank you, and we
There has to
appreciate
be a
that.
lot of risk.
All righty, so how full is the lake?
Hey, fishing is wonderful. This morning, we can officially say that Roosevelt Lake is 70% full.
Nice.
Which was the prediction. We heard 70%, and if we got one more good spring storm, we could get up to 80. We never got that storm, but this morning we're at 70% full. You look at Roosevelt Lake, especially on the Tonto end, and it reminds you of what Roosevelt looked like a decade ago. Water is flooded clear up at the Tonto end, way past Indian Point. I'd say it's halfway between Indian Point and the A Crossroad. And that's a lot of water up in that area.
Yeah, is there any is there water up on the crossroad?
No, it's not. It's about halfway to the crossroad. But what's important is all that brush from that's on the Tono end, the upper end of Tono Creek there. It is all just flooded. There have to be so many fish spawning in there that it's just going to be a wonderful spawn, and everybody's optimistic about the future for Roosevelt.
Well, one of the byproducts, a lot of discussion is the extra rattlesnakes that the guys are encountering in and around the ramps.
And they are there. When you drive past Roosevelt Lake, you're gonna see them smashed on the highway.
Nice.
They're out there, and you're right, Don. This time of year is when they emerge and they're in that brush, and so you need to be watching for them too. And by the way, they can get into your boat. Anyone that tells you that a snake can't swim into a boat is just wrong. I've got pictures of them.
No, they can't. You'll hear shots fired. Let's just say.
Yeah,
Just don't put holes in your boat.
Oh, well, hey, trust me. I had that opportunity with an aluminum boat on Roosevelt and fishing with Dennis Cleary over on Pleasant. And, wow, it got pretty dicey, and they will. They want to climb in, and the harder you hit them with a paddle, the more pissed off they get. So, yeah. So,
yeah.
All right, how's the fishing?
Fishing is wonderful. If you're an action type fisherman, now's the time to be there. We're still in the spawn, but we're probably getting towards the end of it. It may go on for another month and even a month and a half from now for some stragglers, but the majority of them have spawned, and we're in a post-spawn kind of major bite. So things like topwater baits, spinner baits, flukes, paddle tails, those reactionary type baits. The fish are trying to regain strength after the spawn, and there's still some big females swimming around out there. So now's the time to move fast-moving baits along the shorelines. Don't fish in anything deeper than 20 feet of water right now. You should have a good day back there.
Good stuff. How about trout and crappie and the rest of the fun stuff?
Crappie is the time. We've been talking about San Carlos the last couple of weeks, Don, and as you know, San Carlos is always a hit with the crappie fishermen. They're still catching limits of 25 per guy out there in about 4 hours in the morning. But for Roosevelt, just this past week, it seems like the males have moved up to the shallows in big numbers, and the females are moving up now. So we're telling our crappie angler friends that this is your time of year to be out there because they're spawning, the water's clear. We just talked about the flooded water up there on the Tono end. If you've got a small aluminum boat and you like crappie fishing and sight fishing for crappie, now's the time to be there.
How about trout?
Yeah, the trout up on the rim, things have kind of returned to normal. We've been talking about big waters running down. We know that most of the snow's melted from the rim. You can still see some on the very tips, but the majority of it has run down, and so the streams are getting back to a normal flow. This past week, dry flies are what people have been using, woolly buggers, nymph-type flies, that definitely a dry fly rather than a wet fly that we've been advertising the last couple of weeks. So Hager Creek is producing some excellent fishing right now. Talked to a couple of anglers that spent a day up there, and they're saying that they caught like 25 trout, caught and released 25 trout.
Yeah, that angler, does his name rhyme with Dennis Perch?
That would be the guy.
Yeah, man.
And, just a great time to be in rim country. It is so nice to just go on hikes. Now there's a lot of guys out hunting for elk antler sheds. There's a lot of fishermen out there. There's a lot of photography people out there. Just amazing this time of year how attractive people are. This Easter weekend coming into Payson, we had backups clear down to Rye coming into town. So it's a busy weekend up here.
Well, we want to wish you a happy Easter and thank you for all you do for the fishing community and participating as part of the Shake, Rattle, and Troll family. Thank you, James, and happy Easter.
I appreciate you. Same to you, Don, and same to all the listeners. Happy Easter.
All righty, back to the BP.
Hey, Bass, I had a question for you, though, on the fishing thing. Did I hear him correctly? Did he say action-oriented fishermen?
Yes.
That's like golf.
No, it's not.
It's action-oriented golf.
Let me put this
fishing.
into perspective for you. On a normal tournament day, and there's been studies by BASS and FLW done on this, an average tournament angler, you've got action-type guys. If you're using a crankbait, spinnerbait, jerkbait, topwater bait, you will make somewhere between 900 and 1,100 casts in a 7-hour period while standing on 1 foot, operating the trolling motor in all kinds of conditions. Now, I will challenge you to do that. I'll give you about a 7.5 foot fiberglass crankbait rod, put a DD22 on it, and as big and tough as you think you are, you're going to be whining and crying in about an hour and a half and falling on your ass on the deck going,
All right. Well said.
Now, JK can attest to that. He's an action type guy. You give him a crankbait, he's like,
I guess it's a specific skill set, that's for sure.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
As opposed to dragging worms and.
Well, I'll tell you the same thing I always tell my fisherman friends. I'll sit there and drink a beer and cheer you on.
There you go. Let's
Get the
finish
net
up
ready.
with the employment opportunities, if you will, gentlemen.
Yeah, we just want to reiterate that the Border Patrol is hiring. We have been for the past couple of years, and you can go on to usajobs.gov and keyword search Border Patrol agents. And I just wanted to point out too that we have like agents that have no previous law enforcement experience. You know, we have agents that like maybe grew up raising horses. They became Border Patrol agents, and now, you know, they take care of our horses in the Border Patrol. We have agents that were previous welders come work for the Border Patrol, become agents, you know, and help us, you know, with our fence crew, you know, welding, you know, the fence, helping us with, you know, things we need around the station, in addition to being a law enforcement official, you know. So people, you know, can bring different backgrounds and perspectives to the Border Patrol, and that's what we welcome. Is we want, you know, people from all kinds of backgrounds and
That's true.
specialties.
It makes perfect sense. Like when we were up there and we saw that the big 20-foot tall one that they had cut the holes in, you said you had to repair them all the time. So these are the guys that go out there and repair. That's
Of
awesome.
course,
And I didn't even think about that.
And you know, and they bring valuable skills, you know, to the Border Patrol, and that's what, you know, we look forward to and we appreciate.
Right on.
Good stuff. Do you have any questions at this point?
If you guys can't hear, that's the rattles in his head shaking.
Nice. Poor JK. No respect. All right, that's great. I want to get back on some of the equipment and technology that you guys have. You're employing unmanned drones, and I was really taken that that stuff was operated such a far distance. You've got helicopters out of Davis Monthan. Anything out of Yuma?
We do. So in the Ajo Border Patrol Station, we have an area where is the seam between both sectors. So sometimes the Yuma Air Branch covers some of the west corridor out in where we were out. You know, when we went out on that mission with you guys. The Office of Air and Marine is a different component within Customs and Border Protection. So Customs and Border Protection branches out into 3 agencies, which is Air and Marine Operations, which is the guys on helicopters and, you know, fly the drones and all of those. And then we have Office of Field Operations. Those are the guys at the ports. Those are the guys at the airports, seaports, and land ports. And then we have, you know, us Border Patrol agents out in between the ports of entry. So we are hiring in all components. You know, I'm going to throw a bone out there to our partners in the Air and Marine Branch and Office of Field Operations. We are hiring in all components. And if you're interested in what you heard today in this radio show and you want to become a Border Patrol agent, go to www.cbp.gov/careers, and you'll see the different things that we do. Additionally to the law enforcement agents that we have support personnel from civilian, our mission support staff. It's a great asset, you know, to the agency. They're the ones behind closed doors doing day-to-day operations, dealing with the logistics of the agency, the procurement, and all of that. So we are a very diverse, multifaceted agency that employs from all backgrounds and all types of things. So, you know, if you think that you have a specific skill set that might be in line with some of the things that we do. We have CBP mechanics who operate and fix our equipment. We have office of field information technicians who do our computer troubleshooting, and many of them work on our radios and then fix our infrastructure out in the field where we have camera technology. So we're a very big agency. We are the part of the largest law enforcement agency in the country. So in order for us to operate and do our job, there's a lot of behind the scenes that is probably not mentioned.
Wait a minute. You're not all high-speed ninjas?
No.
We try
Or do you all have to be high-speed ninjas first and then specialize?
Right. So we do a variety of things. You might feel like we are. Sometimes we do come up on people unnoticed and undetected.
Spot and stock.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. JK, I really believe this is a great career opportunity for you. Spotting for the Border Patrol instead of greeting at Walmart.
Yeah, well, number one, you looked at the age requirements, 18 to 40. That negates all three of us in this room here right now. But on the opposite side of it, as a retiree, for somebody who wanted to sit up on a mountaintop and just glass all day,
oh, man.
Boy, could you have fun doing that. Part-time job, part-time gig. Or if you had, like he says, a special skill set, certainly whether it's interaction with community, whether it's writing, which I love to do.
Tracking.
Any number of things. Tracking would be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love doing that. You know that. But there's different things that people could bring to the table that you shouldn't remove yourself from the opportunity list just because you don't think you are involved with law enforcement. And that's what he's trying to convey.
Well, I had a discussion with Dr. Davenstani Friday, as you know, and his son-in-law is a correctional officer thinking about the Border Patrol, and he's thinking, I mean, we had a 40-minute discussion and got on the websites and stuff. This kid's thinking that in order to be a BP agent, he's got to have law enforcement, so he's trying to get on law enforcement so he can go with you guys.
And I just want to reiterate that you don't really have to have the law enforcement experience to be a Border Patrol agent. We'll send you to the academy. We'll teach you. We'll train you.
You are going to get trained.
Yes, we will train you to be a law enforcement agent. And that's, some of the things that we do. So, if you don't have any history in law enforcement, we'll welcome you and we'll definitely take
I would
your
almost
application.
think that would be a better situation anyway, because that way you can train the
right
guy the way you want him
Plus,
trained, and
focusing on immigrations and customs law versus city ordinance laws.
it's like JK trying to teach me something. It's just, God love him. I mean, it's just like talking to a bowling ball sometimes.
Yeah.
Talking to you? Yeah.
Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah, so, tell your friend, that or who you talked to before that, they don't have to have law enforcement experience to be hired as a Border Patrol agent. I didn't have law enforcement experience. I did go to college for law enforcement, for criminal justice. But as far as law enforcement experience, I had none before joining the Border Patrol.
How much discussion have you had on the government catching the guy that hit Officer Terry?
We did receive some information regarding that. We worked with our partner agencies in Mexico, and they were able to locate him and effect an arrest on him. I believe he was transferred to the Government of Mexico Prosecutions Unit, as per Mexico protocol,
Sure.
And so therefore he's currently there. I think he's been indicted on 7 charges. I think it's 7 charges. Don't quote me exactly 7 charges, but regarding the incident that happened in 2010.
Is he going to be extradited to the U.S.?
We don't have that information right now.
Okay.
So that's unknown.
We sure do hope so. I mean, obviously, we want to bring individuals who attack our agents to justice. You know, there's different protocols that our agency is not involved in the extradition process and things like that.
Yeah, there was an incident over in El Campo that was, I believe, a rip.
Rosas, Agent Rosas, yeah. Believe it or not, I was driving from El Centro to San Diego the day that happened, and it was pretty bad fiasco on the freeway. I mean,
that gets pretty tense.
Later on, I ended up finding out who that individual was. I got to meet his family. through my prior job, and it was just heartbreaking, the way they went through. But one of the things that we want to be known is that if anyone out there who is involved in illegal activity does any harm to our agents, we're gonna do everything within our power to bring those individuals to justice. We are limited, obviously, in the capacity of that. The investigative agencies take the lead on that, but any support that we can provide in their investigation process will definitely assist.
As a law enforcement agency, do you have supreme power in the state like DPS? We don't. Them and oddly enough, Arizona Game and Fish.
Right.
They can do anything they want anywhere,
right.
within the confines of the state.
We are strictly immigration. We don't have cross designation authority or peace officer authority. Some of the agents who are assigned to the different task forces do get deputized or
Okay, so when I'm I go to San Diego frequently, and I see a Border Patrol truck, I just get off the gas, get back down below the speed limit. So I don't have to do that.
Well, we should be,
cool.
We should be all stewards of
safety,
safety.
Of course.
So
I drive safely.
You haven't driven with him. I don't care what speed he's going.
What are you laughing
that
at? I've driven with you.
That is an indicator of possible illegal activity. So if you're speeding and bobbing and weaving inside and out of traffic, we can.
You have been watching.
Yeah.
But speeding is also a state offense, and we're federal agents, so we enforce federal laws.
Here we go with those damn radios again.
And yes, but one of the things I wanted to reiterate with the individual that was captured in New Mexico, this is an example of where having good relationships with our partners, in Mexico, the government of Mexico can help us, and apprehend someone that we've been looking for, and 6 to 7 years later, we're going to still catch you. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So that's kind of one of the things, working with Mexico, having good relationships can lead to stuff like this.
Well, I hope that goes full tilt for that guy. I think there's one more guy they're still looking for?
One more.
Yeah, there's one outstanding.
Okay, we've got just a...
so we can think of, we can end that note on JK up on a mountain with an umbrella, margarita, and his glass, right? Glass.
He's got it. He is the best spotter that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Should have applied.
Hawaiian shirt. Umbrella.
And he likes to climb stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he's part Billy Goat. I mean, we'll be out hunting, and we see the highest spot up there.
And
that's where he heads for.
Yeah.
Every time.
Great.
Thank you, JK. All right, we've got a couple minutes to get this thing wrapped up. Is there anything that you want to touch on that we haven't?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to come out, relay our message. Again, I can't say it enough. We're hiring. If individuals out there who listen to this, radio show today are interested,
or know someone who's interested,
definitely point them our way.
The other thing is, Mr. Colazar is the president of the Arizona Sportsmen for Wildlife Conservation organization, comprised of about 33 hook and bullet groups. Also, the president of the Arizona Deer Association. We've been having dialogue about hosting some type of a program so you can come up and interact with the sportsmen in the community with your informational seminars.
Right. We do have a program called the Border Community Liaison, and through that program we engage the community. Definitely people who go out hunting in some of these areas where you see those signs where you may encounter illegal activity or smuggling activity might be encountered.
That's in downtown Glendale. Sorry.
We can come out, do a presentation there. It's about an hour and a half, and we'll interact with the audience there. We call it the BP 101, where we go, from talking about who is in our chain of command and how is it that we operate out here in Arizona, some of the challenges that we face, the technology and the different things. Pretty much what we talked on the radio today, but we'll do it one-on-one with community members.
That'd be awesome. How many in your group usually attends?
It depends on the audience. I know we just did one out here in ASU in Tempe, and
that's on Thursday.
Yeah, that was on Thursday. They had they live streamed the presentation online for the criminal justice program.
Wow.
So, I think over 1,500 or 1,700 people actually got to see the presentation. I've seen audiences up to 80, 100 people at these places where we host them. And it's mostly by invitation. They can send their request to tca-pao@cbp.dhs.gov. So that's Tango Charlie Alpha Papa Alpha Oscar at cbp.dhs.gov.
You have that, Mr. President?
They can send a request there, and we'll attend to it. We'll forward it to, if it's something that our local stations can handle, or if it's something that we need to come out and do it, then we'll do that way.
Wonderful. Yeah, well, I think would be something that would be well received by the community. What do you think, Mr. President?
Yeah, I think that certainly for seasonal, as we're going into the deer draw coming in June, people need to know. I mean, I know a lot of people who avoid just going south of Phoenix because of the issues that they've heard about, read about, seen, and it's the United States. This is Arizona. It's our state. We should be able to go out and recreate, period, end of story. However, you need to do so smartly. You don't want to do something stupid, and if you feel that that's an area you want to hunt, you're going to need to take care of certain precautions. One of which is we exposed to everybody today is contact the Border Patrol. Let them know where you're going to be. If you're going to be particularly close, or if you're going to be in an area that has the signage, let them know what you're doing. Take care of yourself. Make sure there's somebody watching the camp during the day, and you're fine. It certainly makes me feel a little bit better knowing that there's 3,700 of you guys out there somewhere along the line doing something. So I appreciate it for that effort.
One, you hit on something. Any advice on protecting our camps while we're in the field? Do we need to leave somebody in camp?
Well, I can't speak on general terms, but it should be advised that it's good if you're gonna go into an area where communication is scarce and there's no cell phone signal. It's always good practice to have a plan. That's the number one thing. Have a plan. Just like anything, if you're gonna go anywhere, have a plan of action. Make good decisions. And if it's something where you just want to have that checkbox, there is a hiking club that checks in with our office every time they're gonna go on a hike out in Green Valley. So they always tell us, hey, we're gonna go in this location. They send us an email. We forward it to the station who patrols that area, and it's just for awareness. If something were to happen, we will be in many circumstances the first responders.
Well, once again, I want to thank you guys for, first of all, coming up, and God bless you. Thank you for doing what you're doing as our first responders and keeping us safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Doug, Bass Daddy, what do you think about them being at the Shot Heard Around the World event?
Well, I want to get that out there for Scott Lavin Wednesday, April 19th. The Shot Heard Around the World. That's where we're going to Ben Avery on the small bore range to celebrate and participate in the first annual Shot Heard Around the World, commemorating the shot fired in Lexington, approximately 7:30 in the morning on April 19th, and 1775 is pretty fun stuff. You're going to be there shooting your pocket pistol?
I am. I got the 38 going. And also just a real quick note, on the 29th and 30th of April, the ADA is having a work project outside just north and west of Lake Pleasant. So we're going to be out there.
And what's the date?
The 29th and 30th of April.
Okay.
That's Saturday and Sunday that weekend. We're going to be putting in a water catchment, which you and I both know is really fun. You can play welder.
I have my leathers out.
Yes, you do. And I have my shovel and gloves, which is what I'm notorious for. So we'll go that
Snakes
way.
and fire.
Amen.
All righty, that's it. Check out the website, shakerattleandtroll.com. Sign up for the newsletter. I'm Don McDowell.
Special K.
Agent Vicente Paco.
And Agent Christopher Sullivan.
Cat Thor.
God love you guys. Thanks for listening. Happy Easter. Take your kids fishing, hug your bass boat, and we are out of here.